Hey everyone, Dr. Mike here. As most of you know, one thing I want to talk about today is actually incontinence, and it's a big deal as far as our health and wellness goes. It can kind of rule our life or really change our plans as far as how we can live our life. So there's three kinds. Number one is stress incontinence. Like if we're trying to work out or we're bouncing or we want to get on the trampoline with the kids, we just can't. Bladder's not going to hold. The second type is urgency incontinence, meaning wherever we're at, we got to kind of know where the bathroom is, or we're not sleeping all night because of incontinence. That's urgency. And then the third type is just a combo. You might have some stress incontinence, not being able to hold during stressful events, and or some urgency also. So it's a combination of the two. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about is it affects 13 million Americans, and there's surgeries, don't get me wrong, but those don't always work. There's medications, and the side effects, unfortunately, are bladder infections and constipation, which is not great. There's some physical therapy that you can do, but there's limitations to that, and I'll go over that in a second. But what I want to introduce you to is what's called the Emsella chair. And the Emsella chair is the only FDA approved external non-surgical incontinence treatment, and it does awesome. It's got a 95% satisfaction rate, 65% rate of getting people off of pads and those sorts of things. So let me talk a little bit about how it works. If we come over here, there's literally a 2.5 Tesla magnet in the base of this thing. And the treatment is fully clothed, and you sit on here, and it produces what's called a supracontraction. Now, if we would just do a Kegel exercise and we flex those pelvic floor muscles, the brain is designed to keep the body safe, and so it's not going to go past a certain point. You can get about a 40% contraction when you do Kegel exercises or you're doing that type of therapy. This magnet goes straight to the receptors right on that muscle. It bypasses the brain, so we can get 100% contraction on those pelvic floor muscles. Now, this treatment takes about 28 minutes to do, and you get 12,000 of those supra-Kegel contractions. It takes about 6 visits over 3 weeks, meaning we have to spread them out because let's face it, man, if those muscles weren't doing that great and we do 12,000, it doesn't hurt necessarily, but it whips them into shape pretty quick. So we got to put a little time in between. As far as that goes, the incontinence is one thing, but there's 18 clinical studies on the side effects, which is greater and enhanced sexual function and that sort of thing too. So this is for men and women. I've got a lot of young ladies that just had children, and 6 to 8 weeks later, we can do this treatment and get the pelvic floor muscles totally restored. I've got all ages. I've got men that have a lot of urgency incontinence and getting up a lot at night, and prostate type issues. So even if we've had prostate surgery, this helps a ton with the incontinence issues there. It has been great. We've seen great results already, but we're ready now to get it out to the masses. We've done kind of, our initial people, but we're ready to open it up. And like I said in the beginning, if you have to plan around these different incontinence issues, it's just a whole, not only physical health and wellness situation, but emotional and mental health. It takes on average women or men 6.5 years to talk to their healthcare provider about this. We want to avoid the surgery, we want to avoid the drugs, and avoid lengthy treatments that you might do for this. And this is the way to do it. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.